The patrol vehicle slammed into a broken barrier as fresh blood dripped across the windshield. No body could be found. The only tire tracks continued toward an isolated valley. None returned. A damaged radio repeated the same sentence every 20 seconds before cutting into static. The village looked peaceful. Every resident watched in complete silence. An elderly resident insisted nobody had entered the village for years despite the fresh vehicle tracks. The detective found a backpack abandoned beside the well. Inside was today's newspaper from another city. No one recognized the owner's photograph even though fingerprints covered every page. A local guide quietly offered help but refused to stay outside after sunset. Fresh footprints suddenly ended in the middle of the muddy trail. Hidden beneath wet leaves rested a rusted key attached to an unfamiliar room number. The key matched an abandoned grain mill that every villager claimed had never existed. Fresh smoke drifted from its broken chimney. Inside, dozens of clocks hung from the ceiling. Every clock displayed a different hour, yet none were moving. A hidden floorboard concealed a notebook filled with visitor names. The last entry was dated tomorrow. The guide admitted she had seen the notebook before, but every morning she forgot where it was hidden. A loud bell echoed across the valley. Every villager immediately closed every window without speaking. The detective followed distant footsteps into an underground passage hidden beneath the old mill. Symbols carved into the tunnel walls became newer with every turn, as though someone had finished them only hours earlier. A lantern illuminated fresh footprints leading deeper underground. A second set silently appeared behind him. He spun around, but the passage was empty. Only slow drops of water disturbed the silence. At the tunnel's end stood a rusted iron door engraved with every missing visitor's initials. One freshly carved set matched his own. The iron door opened by itself. Cold air rushed through the passage, carrying the faint sound of whispered names. Beyond the doorway stood a circular chamber lined with hundreds of empty chairs. Dust covered everything except one seat. A folded map rested on the chair. It marked locations inside the valley that did not appear on any official record. The guide recognized one location immediately. She begged him never to visit the abandoned chapel after sunset. When they climbed back outside, every clock in the village suddenly began ticking in perfect rhythm. The elderly villager denied ever speaking with them. He stared through them as though they were complete strangers. The notebook had vanished from the detective's backpack. Only damp pages remained. Fresh handwriting appeared across one blank page. It warned that forgetting was spreading faster than before. The warning ended with today's date followed by tomorrow's weather, matching clouds already gathering above the valley. As evening approached, the guide admitted she tied colored threads to trees every day because she could never remember the safest route home. The threads had all been cut cleanly. None remained where she had left them. Footsteps circled them from inside the fog, yet no figure appeared between the trees. A hooded traveler emerged carrying an old lantern. The stranger silently pointed toward the abandoned chapel. Before they could ask a question, the traveler disappeared behind a tree that stood alone in the mist. Only muddy footprints remained. They pointed toward the abandoned chapel exactly as the map predicted. The chapel doors stood open despite rusted hinges that should not have moved for decades. Inside, hundreds of handwritten names covered the walls. Fresh ink still dripped from the newest entry. His own name appeared near the center. Beneath it was an empty line waiting for a date. The guide stepped backward in silence. She suddenly claimed she had never met the detective before that moment. The chapel bell rang once. Every name on the walls began slowly fading into blank stone. The fading names stopped at one wall. A narrow stone passage slowly opened behind it. A cold current flowed through the hidden passage. Water echoed somewhere below. The tunnel ended beside an underground stream that disappeared beneath solid rock. The detective noticed fresh boot prints crossing the shallow water. someone had reached the cave only minutes earlier. The guide found an old emergency flare sealed inside a metal box. It still worked. The flare revealed hundreds of handprints covering the cave walls. Every print faced toward the darkness ahead. A narrow bridge of cracked stone crossed a deep channel. Halfway across, loose rocks began falling from above. Both reached the opposite side just before the bridge collapsed into the rushing water. The only remaining path climbed toward an abandoned watchtower overlooking the valley. From the tower, every road leading into the valley could be seen. None appeared on the detective's satellite map. An old telescope pointed toward the village. Fresh fingerprints covered its brass frame. Through the lens, every villager stood perfectly still, all facing the chapel at once. The hooded traveler appeared inside the tower without making a sound and placed another map beside the detective. The new map marked only one destination, an ancient reservoir hidden beneath the valley. Before another question could be asked, the traveler walked through the doorway and disappeared into thick fog. The detective and the guide followed the map downhill until they reached a massive circular stone structure filled with dark water. Dozens of weathered lanterns floated silently across the surface despite the complete absence of wind. A rusted control wheel slowly turned by itself. The water level began dropping into unseen tunnels. As the water receded, a stone staircase emerged from the center of the reservoir, descending into darkness. At the bottom waited a sealed bronze door bearing the same symbol found on every forgotten clue since the investigation began.